Hello, my name is Bianca, and I'm 30 years old. The past year has been nothing short of a nightmare, and I'm still recovering from everything. I've been lurking here and reading so many stories, so I thought I'd give it a go and share mine. My story begins with my ex-husband, Shane. I met Shane right after I graduated from college. I had just secured a pretty good position at a well-known company, and Shane and I worked in the same department. He was assigned to be my mentor. The more time we spent together, the closer we got, and I found myself developing strong feelings for him. It turned out he felt the same way about me. I was concerned about company policies and wasn't sure if we would be allowed to be together. But our company was fine with it as long as we didn't let our relationship interfere with work and maintained a professional demeanor. We were happy to comply, and we started dating. Shane was an amazing and charming man throughout our relationship. We dated for about a year and a half before deciding to move in together. I own my own house, thanks to my parents' help, so Shane moved in with me and things were going great. After about 3.5 years of dating, Shane proposed to me and I was thrilled to say yes. The thought of spending the rest of my life with him brought me a lot of joy. We got married in a small, intimate ceremony 6 months after he proposed. Aside from our relationship, my career was soaring. I was bringing in a lot of new clients, which resulted in bonuses and raises. However, I slowly began to notice that Shane was behaving oddly towards me. Whenever I tried to talk to him about it, he brushed me off. After observing him more, I realized he was just jealous that I was earning more money and was more successful than him. I was hurt and upset that Shane viewed me as competition, but I figured he couldn't help how he felt, so I decided to try and help him at work. I gave him some pointers and even helped him secure new clients. He didn't take it well and lashed out at me, accusing me of demeaning him by implying he didn't know how to do his job. So I backed off and let him handle his work. This all happened about a year into our marriage. After Shane lashed out at me, I spent the next few months pouring myself into my work. Our boss announced a promotion opportunity for anyone who brought in the highest number of clients. I wanted that promotion to make life easier for Shane and me. One day, after my shift, my boss called me into his office and told me I was getting the promotion. I was overjoyed and rushed home to tell Shane. Shane had the day off, so he had no idea what had happened. When I got home, I was greeted with a lovely meal. "How was work today, sweetie?" he asked. "I used my free time to make a nice dinner." "That's really sweet," I replied. "I have some great news to celebrate, so I bought us some good wine." "Wow, that's an expensive bottle." "What's the big news?" Today, just before work ended, I was called into the boss's office and told I was getting the promotion. The big promotion everyone's been wanting. Yeah, apparently I outperformed everyone. "We're going to be rolling in money," Shane said. "Seriously, how did you outperform everyone?" "Well, I guess I just worked as hard as I could. You saw how much effort I put in these last few months. I was constantly exhausted for a reason, and I guess it just paid off." "Hold on, are you jealous of me?" No, I'm just a little bummed that I didn't get promoted." "But does it really matter which of us gets promoted? We're both benefiting from it. My money is yours after all." "Sure, but it's not the same." "You cannot seriously be upset at me. I just wanted us to celebrate this big accomplishment. Can we please focus on that?" "You're right," Shane said. "Why don't we have an even bigger celebration than this, huh?" "What do you mean? How about I throw you a huge party for your promotion? We'll invite all our families, colleagues, and bosses." "Are you sure? That sounds wonderful, but wouldn't that be like rubbing salt in your wound?" I asked. "Nah, I'll be fine. Look at you, worrying about me instead of celebrating. Besides, I think I have an idea for a great present to give you." "Oh, what is it?" "I shall give it to you in front of everyone at the party. But for now, how about we have ourselves a nice dinner?" I will admit that I was a little upset when Shane let his emotions get in the way of showing his appreciation for me, but he really turned himself around when he decided to celebrate with me. Over the next few weeks, Shane poured himself into planning a party for my promotion. It might be bad to say, but I was surprised that Shane wasn't behaving jealously. I was just grateful that he was appreciating me for once. Shane spent a lot of time outside the house while planning my party. He told me he couldn't contain his excitement and wanted it to be a surprise, so he had been going over to his mother's place to talk about it. Now, Shane's mother, Wendy, and I had a pretty cordial relationship. We weren't super close, but she was a nice lady. On the day of the party, Shane told me he was running a little late because he mistimed his surprise. But he sent me to the venue and had Wendy meet me there. I was genuinely floored when I entered the venue. It was a pretty big hall, beautifully decorated. When I walked in, everyone clapped for me, and I was congratulated by a lot of people. As I was talking to one of my colleagues, Wendy bumped into me and accidentally spilled her wine on me. "I'm so sorry I spilled on your dress. I'm so clumsy on my feet, and I've been nervous about coming here for so long. I guess that made me spill on you." "It's all okay. Don't worry. I'll just have my assistant get me an extra dress." "Wait, why don't you come to the side and let me see if I can do something?" "No, I don't think anything will help. Please, I feel really bad for what I did. At least let me try." "Okay, fine." Wendy pulled me aside, her expression serious. "I needed to tell you something important." "What do you mean?" "I need you to tell your security guards to prohibit my son's entry at all costs." "What? Why?" "Shane has been upset that you've been getting so successful. He's been ranting to me about it for so long. Surely you noticed that he was constantly over at my place." I knew he was upset, but I didn't think it was because he was jealous. With every day that passed, his anger only grew. When you told him you were getting a promotion, he lost his mind. But why would he arrange this promotion party in the first place? Because he's planning to embarrass you in front of your boss and colleagues. How? He plans on bringing in some false documents and showing them to everyone to prove that you didn't deserve your promotion. Why would he be that jealous of me? I have no idea. All I know is that he is one angry and jealous man. He will not stop at anything to get what he wants because he wants to be the one who's doing better. I tried my best to stop him today, but he refused to listen. "Okay, I need time to process all this." "I really get that, but you need to inform your security guards not to let him in at all." "Yeah, okay. Thank you for having my back." "Of course, sweetie." I couldn't believe what Wendy was telling me, but deep down I knew that what she was saying made sense. Even though my heart was telling me not to listen to Wendy, my instincts were telling me otherwise. So I informed the security guards not to let Shane in. While waiting for Shane to call me, likely to ask why he wasn't being allowed in, I decided to snoop around and see if I could gather any evidence. I approached the man in charge of the projector and told him that I was with Shane. I said Shane asked me to go through what was to be projected, and he let me see what was on the USB that Shane had given him. Wendy was right. There were hundreds of fake documents that, if shown to my bosses, would put me under investigation and lead to suspension. Not to mention, I could have lost my job. I was furious. I kept the USB and told the man to forget about projecting anything else on the screen. After a little more hunting and asking around, I managed to find all the people who would help him, like servers and those in charge of the audio. I had them all write down and sign statements saying they were hired by Shane to do something against me at my party. About an hour after Wendy warned me, Shane called. "Bianca, what the hell's going on here?" "What do you mean?" "I'm not being allowed in. Apparently, security guards got strict instructions from you to not let me in." "Yes. Why don't you head home and we can discuss things there?" "Why?" "I wanted to celebrate your big day with you." "Look, I don't want to deal with you right now. I know what you've been up to, and I really don't care enough to talk about this over the phone." "Are you serious? Do you even know what you're doing?" "I definitely do. Go home, settle down your jealousy and insecurity. I knew something was wrong, and you refused to speak to me about it. I've had enough of you trying to steal my spotlight. You will pay for this later, but for now I just want to have fun." "What are you talking about? Why would I ever do something like that to you?" "I have heard about your plans, Shane. Who are you trusting more than me right now? Not to mention, I saw what you had planned on the USB you gave the person working the projector." "Wow, so you were snooping just to prove yourself right? Do you even have any trust in me?" "Of course I did. But after tonight, any semblance of trust I had in you has vanished. You can't blame me for it. It's not like you weren't rubbing my face in your accomplishments all the time." "I wasn't rubbing your face in anything. I was just sharing my accomplishments with you because you are my husband. I'm sorry I expected you to share in my joy instead of getting jealous. If I did the same thing to you, you would have behaved the same way. I would at least talk to you about it. I would never try to publicly humiliate you or ruin your career. You know what? I actually don't want to see your face for a while. I will see you in a few days." Bianca, you will come back home as soon as your party's done. Or so help me God. If you threaten me, I will never return. Bye. The very fact that Shane had the audacity to threaten me made me see red, but I calmed myself down and decided I was going to enjoy my party regardless of the fact that it was all a ruse to start my downfall. I had a blast, and at the end of the night, I went to Wendy's place. Of course, Shane contacted her, but she told him to stay away from her for a little while and asked him to give me some space. Over the next week, I filed for divorce and waited until I had the papers to go back home. Once I had them, I went back home and was greeted by Shane. You're home finally. Don't try to act happy. I'm not acting. I really missed you and I wanted to apologize for my behavior. You think an apology is enough, Shane? You wanted to destroy my career and my reputation all because you were jealous and insecure. I was just not in the right headspace. That's not even a reasonable excuse. You have to understand, I was struggling a lot. You were being looked at for all the big projects and promotions, even though we were doing the same work. We may work in the same department, but there's a huge difference between our work. Are you saying that I'm not good at doing my job? You said it, not me. Maybe instead of targeting me, he should have thought about why I was getting looked at for everything. I didn't have to actually look at anything. You are a woman and you were just using your wiles to get whatever you wanted. Wow. Do you even know how much revenue I brought in just in the last 3 months? I brought in triple what you did, and I did all my business over emails and calls. How do you suppose I worked my feminine wiles, huh? You must have done some sort of trickery. There's no way that you did so much in so little time. There's a reason I wanted to expose you. And you wanted to do that using fake documents? I couldn't find any actual records, so of course I had to fake some. There's no reason for you to be that much more successful than me. I had to take you down a peg. You really are a piece of work, you know that? You were willing to put down the woman you love all because you let your insecurities get the best of you. They are not insecurities and I'm not jealous, but you have no idea how embarrassing it is to have your wife earning more and being more successful than you. I've been the butt of jokes for so long. Who is making fun of you, Shane? Who? My friends, the ones I meet up with every other weekend. Wow. So instead of dropping your unsupportive friends, you decided to sabotage your loving and supportive wife. You know what? I can't keep doing this anymore. Here, I'm divorcing you. You can't leave me. I only made one mistake, and I apologize for it. This one mistake of yours nearly cost me my career and reputation, and you didn't sound apologetic at all. You were just justifying your actions without even apologizing. You clearly still don't see anything wrong with what you did. Besides, you showed me where your priorities lie, and I'm not even a priority. I'm someone that you have to be better than. I don't think that's a healthy relationship, and I want nothing to do with you. You think this is over? I will ruin you for leaving me. Give it your best shot. I could not believe how dense Shane was. He really did not see why he was wrong and believed what he did was one small mistake. I grabbed my things again and made my way over to Wendy's house, but not before telling Shane he had a week to leave my home. I didn't care where he went, but he needed to be out. Of course, people at work figured that something was seriously wrong between Shane and me, so before the rumors started spreading, I decided to inform everyone that we were getting a divorce. I never told him the reason, but Shane decided that he wanted to ruin my reputation, so he began spewing lies about my morals. He told everyone that I had barred him from entering my party because I didn't want him to steal my spotlight and that I was selfish and jealous. I did not actually plan on ruining Shane's career, but after what he did, I decided to go ahead and show everyone proof of what he planned to do. I emailed our bosses and HR the documents he planned to show everyone along with signed statements from those he hired to help him carry out his plan. I also informed them about the lies that Shane was spreading within the office, leading to lesser productivity on my part and the office in general. It didn't take long for our bosses to decide what was happening. The next working day, Shane was called into the boss's office and was fired. Nothing was funnier than watching him exit the office with his head down. I had an inkling that he lost his job, but I didn't know for certain. My confirmation came when Shane called me shortly after he left to yell at me. What did you do? What do you mean? Don't try and act as if you don't know what I'm talking about. I know that you're the reason I lost my job. You lost your job. Do not try and act innocent. Well, I'm not confirming or denying anything to you, But you have to admit that there would have been a conflict of interest if you continued to work with us. How dare you? I only attempted to ruin your career. I didn't actually do it. You didn't have to ruin mine. If I remember correctly, didn't you threaten to ruin me for leaving you? I couldn't take my chances, so I protected myself. So you did get me terminated? Well, not only were you a bad employee, but you were also actively harassing and planning the downfall of your colleague and wife. That violates all kinds of work ethics and does not represent the values of the company. Don't throw me all that nonsense. Well, let's just say that I was so upset with you trying to sabotage me that I got you fired. Maybe your tiny brain would be able to understand that. But why? I did nothing wrong. Right, but you could have. Nothing stopped you when we were happily married. So what would you have done when we got divorced? Wouldn't you have tried to do much worse things? I just approached HR with my concerns, and when they had to make a decision between me and you, it wasn't really a hard one. You've ruined my life. I will make you pay for it. I'll take you to court and make your pockets bleed dry. Yeah, and I'm sure that the jury would love to see the evidence of you trying to sabotage my career because you were jealous. That's enough now. I'm tired of listening to you. Goodbye, and do not contact me unless it's through your lawyer if you're contesting the divorce. I was glad that I was able to get the exact reaction I wanted out of Shane. That would teach him not to mess with anyone. Besides, I was not kidding when I said that his career in the company was dying anyway. I was just glad that I was the reason he got thrown out. Shane did try to contest the divorce and get me to pay him alimony because he reasoned that I was the reason he lost his job. Well, I had both evidence of him trying to sabotage my job and statements from my bosses, colleagues, and his mother stating the same. Let's just say the jury definitely did not see the point in his argument. The divorce trials went on for a long time. After it was ruled that I would not be paying him any alimony, Shane wanted to divide everything we owned, down to our spoons and forks. I tried my best to level with him, but he was not having it. I didn't see why he was drawing it out so much, considering he was losing a lot of money himself. I was actually doing pretty great. Finally, I decided to settle and give everything that he wanted, within reason, of course. I still got to keep our house considering it was my name on the deed and title. But for every other thing he wanted, including our bed, I gave it to him. I had more than enough money to afford new things anyway. By the time our divorce was finalized, Shane was pretty much destitute. He was couch surfing at multiple friends' places who eventually all grew tired of him when he stopped searching for jobs. Wendy refused to help him out, so he cussed her out until she had enough and blocked him everywhere. Eventually, when he realized he had nowhere to go, he came crying to me and begged me for help. I refused to help him out because I did not want to be entangled with any of his shenanigans ever again. Last I heard, he's crashing at his aunt's place and finally found a job somewhere. As for me, I'm living a really good and comfortable life right now. Sure, I still feel pains of sadness at what I lost with Shane, but I keep reminding myself that I wouldn't have such a good life if I still had Shane with me. I've been getting therapy to deal with my grief, loss, and anger, and I can happily say that things are going well. Wendy, of course, took it upon herself to make up for her son's actions, but once I had a proper talk with her, she stopped doing that. Now she's become one of my closest friends and a mother figure to me. It'll be a long while before I trust a man again. But until then, I get to spoil myself and enjoy the best life that I can.